feel about this, because I hear from them every day. And sure, there are some folks that would love to resume earmarks because they benefited from them in the past. I think the vast majority of Pennsylvanians, and I would guess of Americans generally, understand that especially at a time when we have reached $15 trillion in debt, when our debt now exceeds the entire size of our economy, when we're running annual deficits of over $1 trillion for the last several consecutive years, and frankly probably in the years to come, we are in an unsustainable mode right now. And what my constituents want is for us to put ourselves on a viable, sustainable fiscal path. And that means getting spending under control. So I don't think constituents want us to see how much money we can spend. As you pointed out, they want to see how much we can save. And I think they would overwhelmingly welcome ending a process that clearly leads to wasteful spending.
I think you're right, Senator Toomey, and I hope we get a vote on this amendment. I'm not optimistic about that, but because typically, let's just be honest. The vast majority of the leadership in this body have typically been appropriators, and many of them want to go back to earmarking, and this is on both sides of the aisle. As I started to point out before, it was the Republican Armed Services Committee in the House that set aside a slush fund and began, doing earmarking in the defense authorization bill. Now, we were able to stop it, expose it and stop it, but clearly people are having a hard time breaking this habit. So I think this amendment is very important. I'm happy to go toe-to-toe with anyone over the merits of this amendment. I am happy to stand shoulder to shoulder with anyone in this Congress, Republican or Democrat, that is willing to stop this process once and for all. I think this amendment would do it. I hope we get a vote on it, and if we don't, it won't be the last time I think they'll hear from both of us, Senator Toomey, about our bill and how serious we are about getting it passed. There will come a time that this bill will pass because the American people are on to us. The American people are on to this bad habit. They want it to end, and they will have their way. It may not be today. It may not be this week. But I remind the members of the Senate that it wasn't that long ago that people laughed out loud at me when I said there would be an end to earmarking. They thought that was the silliest joke they'd ever heard. And we've made a lot of progress, thanks to the American people, by the credit should not go to me or Senator McCain or Senator Coburn, who have been working on this for much longer than I have. It should go to the American people that are figuring this out and rising up in record numbers to say we don't like earmarks, stop it. And credit to them for paying attention. I hope they stay on it, and I hope that we will eventually prevail on this important fight.
Well, if the Senator would yield one final time, and I certainly appreciate your kind indulgences here, but I'm newer to this body than you are, and maybe that explains my relative optimism. But I am hopeful that we will get a vote. And if we do get a vote, I am hopeful that it will succeed. And I point to the voluntary moratorium that both parties in both chambers instituted a year ago as a sign that this is increasingly becoming the consensus view among members of both bodies. I don't know if I'm right, but I am hopeful. I'm not going to give up. I agree with you completely. If we don't succeed today, that just means we need to come back on another day when we can succeed, because there's no doubt in my mind that the people of Pennsylvania, and I suspect across America, want us to win this battle and begin to rein in wasteful spending. There's no better place to start than to ban these earmarks. So I thank the gentlelady from Missouri for her leadership and for her work, and I yield.
And I also yield, Mr. President, and thank the Senator for his work on this. This should be the easiest for us to get done. We've got some hard things we got to do around here that are going to mean sacrifice and changes that are not going to be easy for anyone. This ought to be simple. So let's try to get it done, and I yield the floor.